If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We are in the early going out in Oklahoma City, where the Memphis Grizzlies doing battle with the Oklahoma City Thunder, 22-12 right now. OKC up on top in with about 2:45 left to go in the first. 17.5, the current in-game number right now, with a total of 220.5. Also going on right now.
John Morant scoreless, by the way.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I thought I just watched the highlight of him score a bucket. How about that? Pacers up 10, 53-43, 9.5 point spread with a total of 240.5. Yesterday was a phenomenal day of basketball for both Pistons, Knicks, Clippers, Nuggets. Other games hadn't really been too many close ones, so hopefully this night does not turn out to be a night of blowouts. But game one of Lakers and Timberwolves was just that. So to answer some of those questions about that series and more, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line once more and welcome in Jeff Sherman of the Westgate Superbook. Jeff, we appreciate it. You're also a man of many talents, but a Lakers fan. It's the worst quality about you. How are we feeling after game one as we head into game two?
Well, I did play Lakers first half like I do in these type of situations. Laid 2.5 there, just 0-1 hole and pretty much a must-win situation. I think they'll come away with the win, make the adjustments they needed. I mean, I can't possibly see Minnesota hitting as many threes as they did last game, and the Lakers will have to play better defense from that regard. But I think we'll see a different Laker team tonight. So
how do you, as an oddsmaker, handle these sort of situations, as you're referring to? These zigzags are really baked into the market. Some spots are as high as 6 on the Lakers. They closed as 4.5-point underdogs, or favorites in game one. And, Jeff, I can't wrap my head around willingly upgrading a team by 1.5 points just because they lost the first game. But how do you look at it from your perspective behind the counter?
Well, it's not a handicap. It's basically a reading the perception of what we expect people to bet. And so we're making that adjustment to say, if we put this up, how much one-sided is it going to be? So, I mean, even when it comes to the first half aspect, and you see the Lakers laying 3.5 to 4 when the game spread's 5.5. If you put up a normal 3 based on the 5.5, you're going to get that anticipated money. So you try to make that adjustment ahead of time. And it basically, from our perspective, is just trying to make a perception adjustment in the line.
Jeff, when you bet the game, did you bet Lakers first half and not for the game?
Correct. I just laid 2.5 in the first half. And, sometimes I thought the number was short in relation to where the line was going to be. And I saw it open 1.5, and I didn't get that opportunity. But, I expected it to be more than the 50% of what the game line was going to be. And even if that was 5, I still thought it should have been higher than the 2.5.
All right, so the T-Wolves hit 21 of 42 from 3 in the first game. JBT, what was the number for uncontested threes?
19 of 27, according to the NBA website. Yep.
19 of 27. Jeff, do you think that was just a lack of focus, lack of concentration on the part of the Lakers? You've watched this team in and out. Is their perimeter defense that bad?
Well, when they had their solid defensive rating in the second half of the year, that's part of what they did was let teams shoot wide open, and the other teams were missing a majority of the time. And it didn't happen last game. But I've seen that, and they're obviously going to have to make an adjustment and can't let that happen again, play tighter defense. But you saw that in a lot of games in the second half of the year was they let the teams have the wide open shots, and they just didn't happen to make them before. And the Lakers ran off to a solid second half record, but not so much in game one.
What's your confidence level that the Lakers win this series?
Win the series, I'd say a 6 out of 10.
You lose, Jeff?
I can hear. Maybe your earphone's out. As he said 6 out of 10. Uh-oh, we might have some technical issues. Go ahead, continue, Jeff.
Yeah, it's still a tough go, especially, obviously a must win tonight. You go down 0-2 and having a win in Minnesota, but even if they win tonight, doing well would be getting a split and coming back 2-2. So I think it's going to be a tough series, and I don't see it being over quickly unless Minnesota were to win tonight and make it a quicker series.
Jeff Sherman with us, VP Risk Management, Westgate Superbook, looking at the game of the night here on VSiN Primetime, Timberwolves and Lakers. What about the total, Jeff? We saw this move. Some spots it looked like maybe opened as high as like 216.5. We're now down to 210.5. What's behind this total move tonight?
Yeah, we opened at 215 and we are 210.5. But we've been getting a lot of sharp money on the unders in a majority of the games since the playoffs have started. And I can see this one because just like what we talked about, the Lakers letting Minnesota have so many uncontested threes last game that they're going to have to put a concentration on the defensive effort. And so I think you're going to see that ramped up. And I understand the move downward with the focus on the defensive energy from the Lakers standpoint.
All right, so let's move ahead. Let's talk about Game 2 of Warriors-Rockets. And the Houston offense was horrendous in the first game, specifically Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. They shot a combined 7 for 34 and 2 for 17 from 3. Is there an adjustment here that the Rockets can make, or do they just have to shoot better? The number is now Houston -3 after his 1.5 in Game 1.
Yeah, and, I was fearful that if Houston didn't get Game 1, that this it could be a sweep by Golden State. And, again, the reaction on the perception aspect of bumping the line up for a must-win. I thought Game 1 was really a must-win for Houston because you're going against this veteran Golden State team, and they can easily win this next game, even though the line has gone up from 2 to 3 in this spot. But Houston, first of all, they're a young team, and, it's not unsurprising with what happened in Game 1, but they don't have, like Golden State does with Butler and Curry, a fourth quarter go-to guy. And they closed the gap in the fourth quarter last game, but then when it couldn't get much past 3, and they don't have that guy to go to. And it's tough in that aspect that, a young team going through growing pains are going to have to make some off-season moves, and I just don't think they're going to have it in this series.
Jeff Sherman with us. You can follow him on Twitter at Golf Odds. This total as well went way under in Game 1. What was the adjustment here for Game 2?
Yeah, we opened at 206.5, and we're down to 203.5. And like I said, we've been just getting, the minute we open these up, we get sharp play on the under. So, even when we try to make an adjustment and anticipate it, they're still betting them under. So, even 203 is popping up on it, and it might not be done going a little bit lower.
All right, let's go to Orlando and Boston. Many might think that this series doesn't really have much going for it, but we do have Jason Tatum with the wrist. I believe he is now officially doubtful, Jeff, for this game against the Orlando Magic. This now is 10.5 with a total of 197.5. What's the adjustment in such a lopsided series with a star like Tatum potentially not being available?
Yeah, it's not as much as people would think based on where he is each year in the MVP conversation. This was 12.5. It crept down to 12, just in anticipation that something might not be there with him with the bruised wrist. But then it took the nosedive when it was doubtful down to 10.5. So you could really say it was a 2-point adjustment, but you look on the top players on other teams and it's a lot more than a 2-point adjustment. So that speaks to Boston's depth here. And I believe when Tatum didn't play this year, I think they were 8-1 without him. That obviously doesn't take into account the spread aspect, but, Boston should be fine without him, and hence you didn't see too much of a move on the point spread.
I want to talk about Thursday night with the Nuggets and Clippers, Game 3. This is a hell of a series. I think the best first-round series in the NBA playoffs right now. Clippers, 5-point favorites, total of 214.5, 215 on Thursday night. Jeff, how do you think this series is going to play out?
I think the Clippers are going to win the next 2 games and possibly finish them off in Denver. The Clippers, I thought, should have won Game 1, and last game was a close game too, but the Clippers came over the top with Kawhi Leonard's performance, and I like the Clippers in this spot. I laid 4.5 in the next game, and I think Denver's going to struggle with their lack of depth on the road here, and now you have Michael Porter Jr. that has a banged-up shoulder, so that could even add to more where they have less help off the bench, so needing to put other guys in. So I think it's tough on Denver, and I don't expect much out of me except for a fight, but I don't expect him to come away with too much in this series.
Yep, and Jokic, you got to stop flopping, brother. I mean, come on. He's getting old here. He's trying to do everything possible. I get it.
We'll talk about
that
flopping.
That was a bad one.
Yep.
There are a lot of stars in the NBA doing too much flopping. Jalen Brunson's doing too much flopping.
Oh, yeah, that was going to be the segue, so let's get to that
doing
one.
Too much flopping for the last 15 years.
But Bronson, we don't need to do that. Chris Spitt and Mad Macero has done enough for that for us. Let's get to Brunson and the Knicks. Jeff, I think they're in trouble. What number do you guys have here for Detroit back at home? Total's 214.5, and I think that's going to be a hornet's nest that they're walking into.
Yeah, and the market kind of opened Knicks 1 last night. I went ahead and opened it Pick'em, and I leaned to the Pistons again in this. I mean, I think it's going to be tough for the Knicks, and the Pistons are playing with nothing to lose. I mean, they're a young team and don't have much playoff experience, but they got a lot of veterans on that team to help out the youngsters. You know, Dennis Schroeder, Tobias Harris, who I'm not a big fan of, but he can contribute. So they have a little bit of veteran guidance from that respect, and the crowd is going to be jazzed up here. So the game is pick 'em, and I went Pistons in the first quarter minus a quarter instead of pick, just trying to feed off the energy of the crowd and getting up against the Knicks.
You can hear the dogs barking in the background. Right. Is that a sign? Yeah. Is that a sign that the underdogs?
Well, hopefully not tonight, because I would like the Thunder to cover this number. All right, Jeff, last 90 seconds, and NFL draft approaches on Thursday. What do you guys got up there at Westgate?
Yeah, I mean, we did a limited menu now. We posted them at 1 o'clock today, and they'll be available till 7 p.m. just when the guys that put the numbers together will be there booking them. So we did 14 over-under draft positions and 10 head-to-head matchups on which player will be drafted first. So we put a little bit of an opinion in from what we read, and Ed Salmons, who does these, is really good with that stuff. So you're going to see some different numbers, and we've already been getting some solid action based on that.
6 hours, that's it, huh? That's the window for NFL draft props? Is that because Ed Salmons doesn't want to babysit the numbers?
Well, we're keeping him up while he's there on his shift because there weren't many others that contributed to the input of these. So he's the one that's booking them, and they would have to be down by 5 p.m. on Wednesday anyway in Nevada. So can't get them into Thursday out here.
Jeff, always appreciate the time. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thanks, guys.
Jeff Sherman, Westgate Superbook. Go say what's up.
Bucks making a charge here, 64-60 inside 2 minutes before halftime.
Yep, like we talked about, high water mark sidewise was 10.5, and they are inside of that number with 60 seconds left to go in the first half. I'm going to read you a stat line here. 1 point, 0 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Ja Morant's first quarter against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and OKC is leading by a lot in the early going of that one. We'll have our score updates. Maybe we'll have a contest update as well when we come back here on VSiN PrimeTime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Congratulations to those who laid it with the Indiana Pacers in the first half against the Milwaukee Bucks. You get there. 68-60, final score in the first half. Pacers close as about 2-point favorites in the first half. Total of 117. So you're going to get over that mark with 128 points.
What's that?
60 plus 68.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's easy. I
mean, sometimes with me, I don't know. There have been times, I swear I'm good at math, but sometimes on the fly, I don't really get it done. So you go over the first half total, and the favorite covers 2 there in that matchup. So again, first half in the books. The Memphis Grizzlies might be hoping that this game is in the books already. Maybe a little bit of a running clock here. Not going well for the Grizz right now. 44-25. Oklahoma City up on top. 8:55 left to go in the second. OKC's all over him right now, flying to loose balls, getting almost everything going for him. No shots falling from beyond the arc for Memphis. You said they were 1-9 from 3-point range?
1 for 9 from 3 with 6 turnovers, and Ja Morant 0 for 6 with 1 point.
Can I interest you in, remember, Grizzlies only down by 19, 44-25. Can I interest you in 25.5 points with the Memphis Grizzlies? Total is also 227.5.
The same team that just lost by 51?
Yeah.
I'll probably pass.
How much do you think? So
I really didn't think the Grizzlies were going to show up with a lot of fight tonight, so this doesn't surprise me. Ja Morant getting off to such a poor start. This has got to be a little bit surprising, though.
I wanted to ask you this. How much do you think you're a competitor, a former athlete, right? Do you remember some of your most embarrassing losses?
Of course. Just like sports betting, I think you remember the losses more than you remember the big wins sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. So the reason why I bring that up, and maybe this isn't like the case here because there were not many people, if any at all, that were on this roster at the time that this happened. But back in 2021, if you remember, it was December 2nd. The Memphis Grizzlies were playing the OKC Thunder in a regular season game. They beat them 152-79. absolutely destroyed them.
The Grizzlies beat
the Thunder. This was way back when the Thunder obviously were a very bad team. Do you think the Thunder remember that? Do you think that organization remembers that? There are a couple. Udor was on that team. Shea was not, I believe. I'll have to double check. He at least didn't play that night, but I don't believe he was on the team at that point right there. But there are probably some that kind of remember it.
I'm sure, but it was a regular season game in December, so
John Morant's out there flexing on him.
Right.
No, actually, John Morant didn't play in that game. Jaren Jackson Jr. did, though. Had 27 points.
I really remember it. It's probably not the driving force behind what they're doing here in this series.
You don't think Shea, who wasn't playing that day, is like, remember, they beat us 152-79. No?
They probably got the score written on the chalkboard in the locker room.
They slap it every time they walk out.
The Grizzlies have stuck a couple pretty big, embarrassing defeats on the Warriors.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years.
Grizz like to talk a lot in the regular season, but has yet to show up in the postseason.
No, so in terms of the live number on this game,
25.5.
It just feels like maybe it gets up to 30. You think about taking a look at the Grizzlies, something like that. But
I mean, do you go under the total too? It's 227.5. If you're like me, like I think the Thunder are going to crush them here today. So maybe you go under there.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything with this. I think you got the right bet. You laid, 13.5 pregame?
14.5.
14.5. And I would not expect a spirited Memphis rally here. So a team off 51-point loss, you're going to be a little bit hesitant to take 25.5 live because they've shown they'll quit, right? They just quit a couple days ago, even though I think that was a little bit of a different spot. Ja Morant is on the board. Just hit a short jumper, and he's got 3 points,
Good
1 for
him.
7.
Good for him. First field goal of the day for Ja Morant, not his first points, as you mentioned. So let's get to this as part of what we have up on the website of VSiN.com. We do have our Killer Capper contest that we have going on, which is a lot of fun. It is an NBA postseason contest, and I should say Killer Sports NBA contest. A lot of different handicappers involved here. And it's essentially a similar format to what we did with the college basketball handicapping challenge. We have to make 20 picks in the first round. Now, it's at your leisure. That's the interesting part about it. So there are some, I don't think Drew Dinsick knows he's in the contest. We'll get to that momentarily. There are some who have not made that many picks yet. And there are others who have made about 6 to 8, depending on what tonight is and how many picks they have made. But again, you just have to make 20 by the end of the first round, and then it's, smaller amount each round. So we'll see where you get to. But we have the standings here so far. We could throw them up. There's a 3-way tie for first. Alex Christensen, Steve Fezzik, and myself, all sitting at 5-1 with 5 points.
Wow, you're trying to pull off a rare double here. Nobody in the history of the VSiN college and NBA contests have finished in the top 3 in both in the same season.
Well, it wouldn't happen this year if I did, because remember, I slipped to 4th.
Oh,
and the Circuit College Hoops Challenge.
You slipped to 4th?
Yeah.
Well, nobody's finished 4th in the top 4 in either of these.
That's right.
This is the first time we've ever had an NBA contest.
That's very true. Yeah. So I think the interesting dynamic is that of you have to make 20 picks by the end of the first round. And depending on how you want to go, I mean, if some of these folks, you only got like 2 or 3 picks in, you're going to have to go hard near the end of the round. So we'll see. I was texting with Kelly Bidlin and Zach Cohen, formerly of Harvard Handicappers, rest in peace. And they are, one of the things that they're worried about is their current the tempo, pace, if you will, not picking that many games. So after tonight, I will have 8 entries in, so I only need 12 more picks left to go in the first round. So we'll see if get it done. But I think it's an interesting factor, right? You just sit back and you can play it slow, see what you need to do, or you just start firing away and see what you have. And, of course, every one of these picks is up every single day. That's the other cool part. We only lock them in. The way it works is it's 15 minutes. So, like on the back end, you put your pick in. It is locked after 15 minutes, and then you go from there. So you can move stuff around. We'll get new picks in every single day. But a fun contest so far.
All right. You and Steve Fezzik and Alex Christensen each at 5-1 with 5 points. And you said you got to pick 20. You have to have 20 best bets in the first round.
Yep.
Drew Dinsick right now has 0. Does he have a strategy to lay back? And
I mean, maybe he's a laid back kind of guy. Cali cool. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe just going to sit back and just fire away at the end. I have confirmed that he does know he is in the contest.
Okay.
So maybe that is part of the strategy here.
That's going to get tough if we get some short series.
They're true. I mean, that's the other part about this that I'm kind of like interested in. To your point, there is a scenario in which all of these end in like 4 or 5 games still, obviously. We're very early in the contests. So like, what if all of a sudden we're talking about like 3 sweeps at a couple of 5-game series, and all of a sudden you're looking, you're like, holy smokes, maybe I've got like 2 games left and I've got to make 16 picks.
You're not going to get it.
No, of course not. So it'll be cool. I like this this type of strategy where you're talking about that. Kudos to how we're doing this in terms of the numbers. Not too many stale numbers. So, for example, one of the things that I thought was going to be big was this Timberwolves-Lakers game, where for game 2, the total in some spots that we just talked to Jeff Sherman opened 215.5, 216.5. So I was like, man, we're going to open this contest. I might just want to play under 216.5 if that's going to be the number, right? Because, I mean, the total's now 210.5. It's actually only 212. So they're only posting these numbers about 24 hours ahead of time. So they're doing a pretty good job of making sure that there's no stale lines either that you can attack.
That's always the key for a contest.
Yeah. At least not too stale.
Right. You'll have a lot of handicappers looking to pick off stale numbers. Carl Sack deserves a lot of credit here. He was the driving force behind getting this contest going.
Yep.
Killer Sports. And he's off to a good start, too. 3-1. No best bets here, so each winning pick is worth
1 point.
1 point, and a push is worth a half, I assume, right?
Yes, correct.
Had no pushes so far.
No pushes so far is correct. So we will see what happens. Again, I have for this contest Thunder minus 14.5, and the Timberwolves later tonight catching 5.5. Alex Christensen, also my fellow leader at this point right now, also sitting at 14.5 on the Oklahoma City Thunder, laid 4.5 with the Indiana Pacers. Steve Fezzik, his picks today: Bucks plus 4.5, Lakers minus 5.5. Under Timberwolves Lakers 212 for today. So I can really stick it to Fez today in the early going.
Total of, what did you say, 48 picks in this contest, or how many?
I think, let me double check and get the exact number for you. I think it's a little bit higher than that. I'll get the exact number for you right now.
We had 50 total picks in the Circa College Hoops Challenge. And let's see, you got 20 in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Yeah, I suppose you could get up around 50 picks in a contest like this.
Let's see, 20, 35, only 38. 20 selections in the first round, 10 in the conference semifinals, 5 in the conference finals, and then 3 in the finals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was more. Either way, though, so winning play worth 1, as we talked about, then a half point here. So very excited. You can go up on the website, by the way, check it out. You can also, Joe, check out the betting splits if you're a VSiN Pro subscriber. And if you're not, get in on the summer special. What are you waiting for? Less than $60 gets you everything we do until August 1st. These picks that we're referencing in the contest page, as well as the picks page, you go to VSiN.com and check out the betting splits, which we're showing you here, both Circa and DraftKings. So if you like that as part of your handicapping process throughout the day, you can get those betting splits accurate and to you from 2 reputable books as part of being a VSiN Pro subscriber. So go to VSiN.com/subscribe, get started today. Again, summer special, less than $60, everything we do until August 1st.
Hey, quick update here. The Grizzlies showing some life. Ja Morant's hit a couple more buckets, including a 3, and now it's a 10-point game, 46-36, 6 minutes ago before the half.
Come on, OKC. Remember how they humiliated you on that December in 2021, where a vast majority of you weren't on the team.
152-79?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Can't forget.
You'll never forget. All right, we have plenty left to get to. Coming up in about an hour and a half from now, Aaron Moore will be with us. Can't wait to dive into some more NFL draft stuff with him. Do want to hit on some of these NBA games that we're going to have moving forward as well, because as I mentioned, I do think this team is in trouble, and it's not going to be pretty if they lose.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We are back underway in the third quarter. Indiana immediately hits a 3. They were up 71-60 with the ball. 11:20 left to go in the third quarter. They are sitting on a 1-0 series lead, trying to win both games at home and take this to Milwaukee with a 2-0 lead in the series. We're monitoring what one Damian Lillard is doing in the series as well. For maybe those are under a rock or whatever it may be, Lillard coming back from deep vein thrombosis in the calf. He has 11 points in this contest, 19 minutes played, 3 of 6 from the floor, 4 of 5 from three-point range to go with 2 rebounds and an assist. So Bucks are fighting. Lillard's fine, but Pacers have been keeping him at arm's length this entire time. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets a bucket here. This is going to be his 14th point, and I think he has a free throw coming. We'll see if that's going to be the case. 10:45 left to go. In-game numbers for this matchup right now. Indiana, let's see. I got him as a 10.5-point favorite to a total of 240.5. Is that what you see too?
Yeah, 10.5, 239.5. I would say it'll be interesting right now. Let's say you take the 10.5. Would you feel good about that?
Yeah,
if I had to play it live, I would take the 10.5 right now.
Yeah, especially at this moment where we're talking about beginning of the half. You're in the midst of Giannis' stretch of minutes, so you're going to feel like you're going to you'd think you could win the Giannis minutes when he's out there. The real question just becomes what happens when he leaves the floor, because he's really been your only offensive threat in this series as it's been played. And give Bobby Portis credit. He's given him 14 points off the bench, but just 3 double-digit scorers so far. Giannis, Damian Lillard, and Bobby Portis, and only 2 other players off of the bench that have logged the minutes have points. Gary Trent Jr. with 4 after a big game 1. Kevin Porter Jr. has just 2. He is 1 of 4 from the floor with 3 assists. So I would think that you feel pretty comfortable just because it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he should be able to give you something here in these minutes.
Well, he's more or less unstoppable. I don't like it when he pulls up for the mid-range jump shots, but, man, when he drives to the rim, he's tough to stop.
Yep.
This is the live number in the Memphis OKC game. Just got as high as 27.5.
Wow. It's a 21-point game right now with 1:33 left to go in the second quarter. And Grizzlies having a really tough time on both ends of the floor right now. As we said, the Thunder are flying around. This number, I guess the high water mark we're seeing is 27.5. Last time we talked about this, we talked about 25.5, and it's just not going well. Turnover, then you give up a 3 on the other end. Grizzlies, it looks like, are just ready to get out of here. I can't wait for that game to go final. I've got a trend for you we got to discuss. We're going to talk about that later. If
OKC covers?
If they cover. I'll just say it this way. If Indiana and OKC win their games today, and we got a pair of teams that are 2-0 going back home, I got a special trend for you and some updated numbers on what has been a very popular way to play teams in those scenarios. But that's only if we get teams down 2-0.
Okay.
All right, we'll have that a little bit later.
I did a 20-minute radio spot in Oklahoma City today.
Wow, 20 minutes is a long time.
It was a long spot, but it was all right. We talked a lot about the NFL draft and nothing about the OKC Thunder.
Really?
It's all about the NFL draft.
Something tells me, because I have a hit in Oklahoma City tomorrow too, that maybe we'll talk about the NFL draft and nothing about the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll see if that's the case.
I don't know.
Maybe you're just chalking this up as a dub.
With you, they probably want to talk more about the Thunder.
Maybe.
With me, they just want to talk about the draft.
That implies that they know who I am. That might not be the case. All right, 66-49. Just over 30 seconds left to go in the second quarter. We'll tell you what that is, and I will let you guess if whether or not the Oklahoma City Thunder are about to cover this first half number against Memphis as another 3 goes down, and that is back up to a 20-point lead. So I mentioned a team that is in trouble. You guys were on the air yesterday during Knicks and Pistons. Did you watch it in depth?
No, actually, I was, believe it or not, very focused on the Canadiens-Capitals hockey game.
Really? Did you play the Canadiens?
Well, no, I had the Caps. I had the Caps on a parlay with the Vegas Golden Knights from Sunday night, so I was trying to close that parlay.
So you're dropping nuggets like, man, this forecheck is really strong for the Washington Capitals.
I'll tell you what, I've watched more hockey in the last 3 days than I have in the last 3 months.
Huh?
But
I was watching that game, too. That was on the secondary show.
That was a hell of a hockey game last night. I would say the Pistons Knicks, watching a little bit of that, and then
Kings Oilers was a little bit more entertaining.
What's that?
I said Kings Oilers was a little bit more entertaining.
But then also the focus kind of shifted to the Clippers Nuggets game.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring this up is Pistons, of course, go out to New York, the Garden, the Mecca, with all sort of relatable people watching the game, like Timothée Chalamet and
who is that, by the way?
You know what Timothée Chalamet is? Actually a pretty good actor. I don't know how old he is. Just you look that up. I'm like 99% sure I'm older than him, so I was going to say a young actor. No, not married, but is with one of the Kardashians. But he's a pretty good actor.
Oh, no. Really?
He's actually pretty good. He's pretty solid. He also
What movies?
I don't think you've really seen it. Like Dune. Do you see the Dune movies? Sci-fi ones. Those are like the big hits.
I missed that one. Yeah.
Willy Wonka.
Missed that one.
Musical. It's actually surprisingly good. Watched that with the family. I was very much entertained in that one. I'm trying to think of some others. Those are like the big recent ones.
I was going to say some big movies.
Oh, Bob Dylan. You like Bob Dylan?
Yeah, but I didn't watch the Bob Dylan movie.
He was the guy. He played Bob Dylan, if I remember correctly.
Good.
So, yeah. Irregardless.
This is the Willy Wonka movie.
Very good. Solid. I don't like musicals, but, it hooked me. I was in. The relatable folks watching that game on the sidelines aside, right?
Who else?
You could really root for the New York Knicks. Spike Lee. It wasn't McEnroe. There was somebody on the sideline as well.
Paul Bovey.
Paul Bovey, right? Tracy Morgan, I believe, as well.
Yeah, wow, some big stars.
Yeah, big stars. People that you can really look and go, you know what, that guy's been through what I've been through. You can totally understand it. But watching that yesterday, which was a phenomenal game, very, very fun game. Outside of, you mentioned it, I got to tell you, maybe it's just the anti-New York bias bubbling up inside of me every time I watch anything New York related. Jalen Brunson, can we give it a break?
Boy, the flopping.
Every possession.
I like Brunson too, but his flopping has gone to a level that's unacceptable.
It's insane.
He's making a mockery of the officiating in
every
the game.
time.
I know.
The head throw. Every time.
I can't stand to watch it. I was watching some of the replay last night, and after I saw Brunson flop for like the 5th time, I just turned it off. I can't watch it.
The other part that's annoying is NBA, what happened? You came out and decreed that they would no longer call the pump and jump foul, right? The pump fake and jump into your defender, and they stopped calling it for like 4 months, and all of a sudden it's back.
Called twice last night, right?
Like all of a sudden you could do it. Like all of a sudden it's fine. But I bring that series up because now they go back to Detroit. It is a 1-1 series. As I mentioned with Jeff Sherman, I don't know how much you watched the regular season. Those Pistons home games at times were crazy. The one that sticks out to me, there was a Celtics game, or I think it was near the end of a road trip. It was a back-to-back for Boston. Detroit was sitting back and waiting for them. It was a wild environment. They have not won a playoff game since, I believe, 2007. Haven't been to the postseason since about 2017. This is going to be an environment that I think is absolutely insane. I think it's going to be a strong home court, and I think the Pistons give them problems. We saw it in game 1. They were up by 8 in the 4th quarter, and they're just a young team just kind of unraveled. You saw in game 2, dude, they covered wire to wire. They were never in doubt in that game. So I think that this is going to be a series in which after, I think this is tomorrow or the next day, but after game 3, the Knicks are going to be down 2-1, and we're going to have some real questions about whether or not this Knicks team is in some real trouble because they are not playing well on offense through 2 games. The Pistons have changed the way that they have guarded the New York Knicks. It was pointed out by Zach Lowe and others with what they're doing with their center. Defensively, it has completely flipped the way that they're doing this. The Knicks are having trouble with it. They don't have any real answer for Cade Cunningham. This thing's a pick for game 3, and to me, it's Pistons. I think they go off as probably like 1.5 point favorites, but Knicks are in trouble.
Karl Anthony Towns pulled a bit of a disappearing act. And
what is that?
I don't know.
He's not shooting any threes. He's non-existent. What happened?
This game is Thursday night. Pick him total of 215. It kind of feels like an under series too, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the first game went over, if I remember correctly, but the second game was way under. And I would think that would probably be the pace at which this is played. The second game was good. It was also kind of ugly. But, I mean, outside of Jalen Brunson just hunting for fouls, you haven't really gotten much offensive production out of anybody else.
Now, that was Brunson. That was Cade Cunningham, both going off.
Yep.
30-plus point games. That's what Pistons are going to need from Cunningham. He's going to have to take the clutch shots. He's going to have to hit big shots in the last 2 minutes of the game, too, for the Pistons to have a shot to win this series.
And I would say, too, again, if you haven't, I've got over 5.5 games in the series. I've got a little on the Pistons. I still think 2-1 is playable here. Again, I think they're in a spot to win this game in game 3, and I think they're going to be very live to win this series.
Well, I would think that your plan is probably to bet the Pistons in game 3, and if you lose, you're going to come back with the Pistons in game 4.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yes. I think they're in a pretty good spot. And kudos to JB Bickerstaff, man. He's got this team playing pretty well. These guys that came in as the veterans and playing their roles extremely well. Malik Beasley, who maybe should have won 6th Man of the Year today. And Tim Hardaway Jr. Tobias Harris, how about his series so far? You talk about not having answers. Because Cade Cunningham is so good, they've now had to use their best and bigger defender, OG Anunoby, on Cade Cunningham. So Tobias Harris is ripping him a new one because they don't really have anybody for him at all, too. This has been a great series. Can't wait to see what Game 3 does involve, too. But very much looking forward to it and looking forward to this
That's a hard foul.
Wednesday. What are we looking at here? 81-67.
They're reviewing to see if this should be a flagrant foul against on that Giannis shot attempt. He got smacked on the arm. That was not a flagrant foul. You can't give away. Now watch this. I'll let you draw your own conclusion here. He did hook him around the shoulder, but you just can't let the guy go up and dunk.
Right. Looking for to see if it's a flagrant, huh?
That's not a flagrant foul.
I don't think so either. All right, we'll give you the result of this foul call on the other side, give you some halftime lines, look at the second half, and another look at our game of the night in the association between the Lakers and the Timberwolves.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Pacers holding on tight, man. They're not letting go of the rope here. 83-71, 6:26 left to go in the third quarter. And at least at this point right now, Bucks just can't really break that 10-point barrier and stay inside of it at the very least. We watched them cut it down to 4, I think, right, at some point in the second quarter. But Pacers immediately opened it back out to 8, and that's where they were up at the break. And now they are up by 14 with 6.5 minutes left to go in the third. I think we have some free throws coming as well for Indiana, I believe. So, yep, Pascal Siakam at the free throw line to try to make this, don't tell me, a 14-point game. Like, if he hits both, is what I'm saying. I know it's 13 now.
Well, now it's a 12-point game. Pacers 10.5-point favorites live, though. Total 241.5.
I still got the math wrong, actually. All right. So I got to tell you, I think, again, it would probably be 10.5, but you're inching ever closer to the non-Giannis portion of the second half, and I believe we've entered that. No, okay, there he is. He's inbounding. So once you get to the non-Giannis minutes, you might just want to sit back and wait, because there's a pretty good chance that this thing gets extended out when Giannis ain't playing. And maybe you dive in on an in-game number that's a little bit more inflated should it play out like that once he gets back into the game.
Kyle Kuzma, by the way, has responded tonight. He's got 10 points.
Oh, good for Kyle.
Off that scoreless game.
The 20 trillion, as they call it.
Giannis has got 18, Lillard 10, and Lillard 11, and Kuzma 10. Actually, Bobby Portis with 14 off the bench. It's a 14-point game right now with 5:45 to go in the third. The total closed 228 here at Circa.
Yeah.
Did you consider playing this over in the contest? Because the Pacers and Bucks obviously trend over the total.
Well, especially with Lillard out there, right?
Years,
I mean, that was part of it. I considered it, didn't end up using it. We've talked about this before. I never really have the strongest read on totals. And I think there's a strong argument to be made that this game goes over because of the presence of Lillard. Offense makes it better. Defense makes it worse. And I think that there's a strong argument that thing was going to be the case. And right now it's playing like that, like you mentioned. 85-73, 5:40 left to go. Excuse me, that is a bucket. 87-73. Nembhard adds to it. I wanted to note really quickly, can I transition just because this game is about to start? Lightning and Panthers, for those who maybe are just getting into the car around the country or listening on Sirius XM, whatever it may be, didn't see the news. Matthew Tkachuk is officially in today for the Florida Panthers. They are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning are going to go off as about a $1.20 favorite by my count here, at least looking at MGM. But worth mentioning, and every sign had pointed to Tkachuk playing. Been out since the Four Nations. He is on the ice today for these Florida Panthers in this third game of the series. No, actually, series just getting started today. Weird schedule today. Because not only is this series just barely getting started, a lot of people like the Lightning in this series too. A lot of people that I respect in terms of hockey knowledge like the Lightning here. This is right up your alley. An 8:15 puck drop tonight for Knights and Wild.
I like this. The late game in Vegas, and we had the Sunday night game too, and Vegas won that on an empty net goal, 4-2. Did you see the empty net goal?
With 1/10 of a second left? Yep.
Actually, it looked like the clock expired. It was at 0 when the puck.
They had a freeze frame, and the puck was in the net with 1/10 of a second left to go. Yeah. That was ridiculous. What a way to lose that.
Or win it. I know I know a few people who laid the 1.5 and won it 4-2. And how about over the total? Yep. It was 5.5 as a total. I just bet the Knights minus 190 that night, and that was all I played. I also played the Knights to win the series. Vegas. Tonight looks like basically a 230 favorite, total of 5.5 again. I love the late night starts. Actually, probably should go to this game tonight. We could our show ends right when the puck drops.
Yeah. Huh? I mean, I did not even. I mean, here's the thing, too. I believe Florida, I think it's the Florida-Tampa Bay game that's getting started right now, or it might be the other one that's on. One of the other games that is underway right now, obviously broadcasting, everything's on ESPN today. So if that game goes overtime, puck drop's going to get pushed back a little bit more.
It's actually 8:48 Eastern time.
What are you talking about?
Tampa Bay.
It's about to get started right now.
I know. The Tampa Bay game starts at 8:48 Eastern time. Now, you talk about a late start.
Oh, it's a good point. And this thing, when you're talking about getting pushed back for television, because I think that's probably the case, because Carolina and New Jersey. So now you get Minnesota and Vegas on the same channel. Maybe it starts at 8:48 p.m. our time.
It could.
So there we go. For those of you in Minnesota, congratulations. You get to watch your team at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, I love these late night games like this. And, man, how good was it last night? How about Alex Ovechkin? That's the first time in his career he scored in overtime goal in the playoffs.
Really?
It's amazing. You think all the things he's accomplished over the last 2 decades that he had done that? That was the first time ever last night. Came at a perfect time for me. I needed the Caps to win that game last night. They blew a 2-0 lead in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The regulation got the 3-2 win in the first basically 2 minutes of overtime.
I had no idea. I had missed that stat. The other scores, we should note, the games that are underway right now, Maple Leafs currently on a power play, I believe, might have just ended here. They are up 2-0 over Ottawa in this contest. In-game numbers right now, Maple Leafs about a $9 favorite, plus 550 coming back on the Senators. These numbers courtesy of BetMGM. Total 5.5 shaded to the under at minus 140. We have 14-15 left to go in the second period. And as we mentioned, just underway now, seconds ago, Panthers at Lightning $1.18 as that game is underway. For the night game tonight, as Matt mentioned it, minus 250 in favor of the Golden Knights. 2-1 coming back on the Wild. Total 5.5, and that is a pick. Minus 110 both sides.
Last night was actually a wild night in hockey. It had nothing to do with the Minnesota Wild. Did you watch the Edmonton-LA Kings game?
I did. I mean, I was locked into Clippers and Nuggets.
Well, I was too.
Yes,
I was just
and then watched it on the other screen.
A little bit of attention to the hockey game. That Clippers-Nuggets game was great last night.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
LA Kings beat Edmonton 6-5 last night after blowing a big lead.
Yes, in a series that a lot of different opinions on both sides. I was on Follow the Money yesterday. Greg Wyshynski came on from ESPN with a full-throated endorsement of the Edmonton Oilers. I know a lot of people on this network liked the Kings, including Paulie and I believe Stormy in the morning liked them as well. So there was a lot of respected hockey folks on other sides, but Kings pulled this off 6-5. And how about the discrepancy in prices yesterday? Did you guys notice this? So Circa, I didn't see what they closed at before puck drop, but at one point had the Kings favored in the series at minus 125, while DraftKings had the Oilers favored in the series at minus 135. So if you're in Colorado, for example, could have gotten plus 110 and plus 105 on the series, both sides. So a lot of different opinions on this thing, both in the market and just respected talking.
We had Dennis Bernstein on the show with us, Friday? He touted the LA Kings in that series. The Kings were up 4-0 late in the second period last night, blew that lead, and had to come back and rebounded to win 6-5. All right, so OKC, Memphis underway now in the second half. Thunder up 16, and the Pacers up 11 on the Bucks with 4 minutes to go in the third.
Yep, and we are waiting for our game of the night. Let's update this just number-wise where we're at here. As the Minnesota Timberwolves later this evening will try to take a 2-0 series lead on the road against the Los Angeles Lakers. LA, the center of attention as always. Right now, how about this? And we talked about this with Jeff Sherman. This is the discrepancy. I'm always looking at this sort of stuff. So 5.5 is the number for the game. By the way, Bucks inside of 10 right now is 89-80, 3:44 left to go in the third. 5.5 for the game with a total of 210.5. If you're thinking, you know what? This is a must-win game. Lakers can't go down 2-0. They're going to get off to a hot start here. All right. Well, you can lay 4 in the first half in a game in which the Lakers are 5.5-point favorites. They are 4-point favorites in the first half against Minnesota here today. And for the first quarter, they're 2.5-point favorites.
Well, you've seen it happen before where a team like the Lakers would get out a hot start, right? You're down one game on your home floor. You get out to a 5-point lead after one quarter, 8-10-point lead at halftime, and end up losing the game.
Yep. I mean, it happens.
There's a reason, though, guys like Jeff Sherman will bet the first quarter or the first half instead of laying it for the game.
Sure.
Those teams will come out with more urgency when you're down 1-0 in a series and you're at home, and it'll be interesting to see if that's the way it works out with the Lakers tonight.
I can't get over that when you're talking about, think about the tax you're paying, as we keep using that term. You're laying tax, 4.
No doubt about it.
In a game in which they're laying 5.5 for the full game, you are laying 4 as a bettor in the first half.
As a bookmaker, you have to bump it up because that's what you get. You're getting action on the home favorite.
Oh, that's all anybody's going to bet.
Yeah.
That's wild, though. I'm just talking to our bettors out there. Like, folks, come on now. Even then, you can wait. You can wait in game if the Timberwolves come in, because you can obviously bet first half live as well.
Sure.
If the Timberwolves, if you really think the Lakers are like, the ish tonight, and they're going to come out there strong, I mean, just sit back and wait. The Timberwolves go up 4 points. You're going to get something better in the first half potentially. Want to bet smarter, not louder? Check out the Sharp Plays at sharpplays.com, where real bettors go to get ahead. Most of the betting world, just noise. Chasing steam, copying picks, recycling the same old value plays. They're not sharp, they're just parrots. The Sharp Plays is the source they're echoing. Since 2011, it's been locked in with what the real pros are betting. Elite groups, sharp money, the kind that actually moves the market. When the sharp plays jump on a side, the line reacts every time. With insider info and powerful AI tools, you're not guessing, you're getting ahead. Sign up for free betting reports, real-time alerts, next-level intel via email or on X. And don't take anyone's word for it. Check the receipts. Full betting logs are live on the site. That's why follow the crowd when you can lead it. Visit sharpplays.com. Respect, watch, feared. That's the sharpplays.com.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.